Hi, I'm Dewey Evans. Welcome to my Where's My Point and Shoot channel. This is the behind the scenes channel for my business, EKH Media, where I'm going to share with you the lessons that I've learned along the way, the places where I've chosen to make investments into my business, as well as inform you of some of the decisions which I made right at the very beginning. I've learned a lot by watching YouTube channels and watching other online platforms, and by surrounding myself with people who have experience in places that I don't have, because I think it's always great when we can learn from other people rather than having to stumble along and figure out things ourselves. My goal for this channel is to take you along on a journey as I build a media production business from scratch. Today, what I want to do is to talk to you about the video editing system which we use. We use Final Cut Pro. It's something that I've chosen to do because we are fully invested in the Apple and Mac ecosystem. So today I'm going to take you through a little bit of the reasons why we chose to use Final Cut Pro as our editing system. We decided we were going to do a video for an event we had for Tennis Center that we ran. So a pretty significant gala event, and we were going to have hundreds of people come, and they would, as part of dinner, they would watch a video that we were making on the history of a facility we were associated with. We had very much invested in trying to see if we could be entirely in the Apple operating system environment. So it didn't make sense to go and look at moving away into Premiere at that point in time, and even knowing it, particularly when we were under huge time crunch for a project and needed something to be able to edit stuff right then. Want to be a programmer or whatever, stay on a PC if what you want to do is take pictures and have a tool that would enable you to get those pictures, then Mac's going to be the thing that you need and better for you for what you're doing. That was kind of what moved us from the PC world into the Mac world. And so wanting to now stay in the Mac world, Final Cut Pro was a software which worked on Macs. It was made by Apple. It was an Apple product. It integrated well with all of the things that we were doing. We could take things that we had done in iMovie and we could migrate them into Final Cut to maybe do a little bit more with them than what we had been doing. And so as we moved forward, it made sense to stay in that Apple ecosystem moving forward, because it looked like everything we were doing at that point in time was that our registers at the tennis centers were iPads. All of the coaches were issued iPads. We just had iDevices and Macs, and we had the Mac Mini at home that was our music server. We have who knows how many Apple TVs sitting around, had them at the tennis center at that point in time because we were just at Samuel Grand. And so those were largely the reasons for jumping in and using Final Cut. So we did what made sense. We used the tools which we had, even though it became one of those things of get into editing it, and it didn't edit on the Mac Mini because it was way too underpowered, and the iMac didn't kind of chug through what we were trying to do. So I had to run out and get more memory. Was trying to figure out what it was certainly under time crunch and panic, and I don't think tears came to my eyes at that point in time, but it was only because I didn't have enough time to dry them up. I needed to keep going at that point in time. So it was get in the car and drive to the Apple store and see if I can get some overpriced memory to throw in the back of the iMac, and see if I could keep going. And ended up with a product which we were proud of. at the time. It was great interviews. The story was great. The editing was still a little bit suspect, but for a first time out of the box, it was good. We're also really smart about knowing where what we have doesn't lend itself to what a client would expect, and bringing in resources from the outside, whether that be rent a lens for a camera, or bringing in someone to capture audio separately to do voiceover someplace else. I mean, going back to the Samuel Grand project, we took that entire file and stripped the audio file out of it and sent it to, where was the guy, Chicago or something? Cincinnati, who did the mix that got brought back in so that it had good audio, because we've always understood that good audio was important for. So part of how we'll probably do some of these videos is the same way that we do a lot of videos which we do professionally, which is Kim, who you may see or may not see sometimes. We'll sit and we'll interview someone, and then we will go back and go through the interview, find out where people were the most comfortable, where those sound bites are, which tell the story the best way, have the best feel, bring the best emotion to it. And then if we were doing it for a client project, we would then use B-roll to run over the top of it. In this case, it'll just be, this is YouTube, it's just going to be jump cuts. We're going to find out what makes the most sense to tell the story that we sat down trying to tell, and we're just going to stitch it together. So sometimes you're going to see me and I'm not going to be looking at you. You'll see me and I'm looking off camera. Well, what I'm doing is I'm actually having a conversation with someone, trying to get out the story which I want to share with you. So it might be a little different than other people do it, but it's how we do stories. So hopefully it'll work for this too.